Hello everyone, Prime here. I hope that you had a great day, because today we're going to be covering Jing Wei, some facts about her lore and all of that good stuff. So, her name can also be spelt with a CHI at the beginning, like this. She was either a daughter of an emperor called Yandi, or the daughter of a sun god. Now, specifically, if in the variation of the story in which she's a daughter of Yandi, the emperor, she's described as being a fairly intelligent girl for her age, and sort of the apple of the emperor's eye. So you can tell that there was a strong bond between the emperor and daughter. Now, in the story in which Jing Wei is the daughter of the sun god, she's called Nuwa, perhaps. I'm not too sure how to pronounce that. I'm just going to say it Nuwa, but it's spelt Nvwa rather than Nuwa or any other variation of Nuwa's name. The sun god's task was to set out on a journey to the east. Every day. He had a palace set up in the east. Because the sun god would get called away on his duties a lot, Nuwa was left on her own quite a bit, and one day she hopes to in fact visit her father in this palace to the east. So one day, she's traveling through a body of water in a boat. A sea storm emerges, her boat capsizes, and she lacks the ability to swim or survive in such a large, deep body of water, so she perishes. She turns into a bird in this version of the story. In the Emperor version of the story, she goes out because she's quite lonely and seeking some sort of adventure. She sort of goes out on the boat. Also in that version of the story, instead of turning into a bird, her spirit or soul or essence finds itself inside of a body of a bird after her human body dies. Anyway, in the sun god version of the tale, she's described as being a bird with red claws and a white beak. And she's furious at the sea that claimed her life. So what she does is she either A, takes stones, or in another variation of the story, she takes twigs, and she tries to just fill up this sea so that no one else can die by its furious waves. And the sea sort of mocks Jing Wei, saying that you'll never be able to fill me up even if you had 1,000,000 years. And in response to this, Jing Wei says that even if it takes me tens of million years or hundreds of millions of years, I will fill you up so that no one else is claimed by you. She didn't just instantly have her name be changed to Jing Wei upon turning into a bird. No. Whilst she was completing this task, she would constantly utter Jing Wei, Jing Wei. So her name simply became Jing Wei. A bit like how a Pokemon sort of works, where they kind of repeat their names over and over again. Never understood why exactly they did that, but there you go. Jing Wei trying to fill this massive body of water with nothing but little pebbles that she could find from mountains, or a specific mountain, depending on the variation, is a bit questionable. Except there's this big idea of perseverance and struggling when it seems pretty impossible that you'll reach the outcome that you want behind this whole story. So that's essentially everything I have on Jing Wei, though why Hi-Rez decided to make Jing Wei a humanoid with wings is a bit funny, considering the fact that in her mythology she's literally a straight-up bird, and we have characters such as Artio Fafnir, who can just actively just transform into a human form and an animal form. They could have done that with Jing Wei in some way. Maybe perhaps if she popped her ultimate, she would transform into a bird, and if she used her passive, she'd transform into a bird. That would have made a bit more sense lore-wise, because as far as I know, these are the only two variations of the story that I could find, and the information about Jing Wei is fairly scarce. So there's that. I suppose that's just a high-res design thing. But we're not going to end the video just there. Now we're going to be talking about Tengu. We're going to start off with the Daitengu, meaning Great Tengu, Greater Tengu, or Divine Dog. Now these Tengu had distinctly long noses, large wings, and red faces, or at least if they wore sort of masks, then of course the mask would be red and have long noses. Now, they lived in deep mountain forests or remote mountain tops. Human-like diets, they didn't actually feast on just raw meat such as livestock or human flesh in and of themselves. They just ate sort of similar foods to kind of what humans ate. Though, that doesn't necessarily mean they were always friends of humans. See, Originally, these Tengu were sort of considered to be enemies of humanity, but as time grew on, another variation of the Tengu became seen as more of a threat to humanity, and these guys kind of did their own thing and sat on the sidelines as far as humanity was concerned. Didn't really trouble people. They were known to abduct humans for perhaps torturing deals, or maybe to drop them from large heights. However, they also were known to teach people special skills, and in and of themselves, they may have possessed knowledge of swordsmanship, flight, and wind control. In fact, a very specific human, Minamoto no Yoshitesune, was forced to grow up in a monastery after his father was defeated by a rival clan leader, the Taira clan leader, and Tengu taught him the secrets of fighting, which he used to take up arms against the people who sort of took down his father. In a very specific battle, he fights a monk called Benkei, who sought to disarm 1,000 warriors and separate them from their swords. Yoshitsune was the 1,000th warrior to be disarmed. But he was not defeated, because using the fighting techniques that he gained from the Tengu, he defeated the warrior monk, and in return the warrior monk sort of followed him as a companion. So there's that. The Tengu were able to teach him useful skills. Now, as for the specific origins of Tengu generally, they may have been yokai, who were like ghost spirits, who took the form of a bird, and this is why I thought they might be a bit relevant to Jing Wei's story, because of course Jing Wei, after dying, ends up in a bird's body or becomes a bird. So there's that sort of link between the Tengu and Jing Wei. Of course, Jing Wei is Chinese mythology, Tengu, Japanese mythology, so of course there's that barrier, but connection nevertheless. They were known to be former humans, not quite good enough, as in, you know, like a good, morally good person to enter heavens, but also not morally bad enough of a person to enter the hells. So they came back to life as these Tengu spirits. Usually the Daitengu spent a lot of their days trying to gain some sort of enlightenment or improving their knowledge or wisdom, you know, improving themselves, but personally, by themselves, in solitude. As for the other variation of Tengu being the Kotengu, meaning lesser Tengu, still divine god, or crow Tengu, they ate wild animals, livestock, forms of fish, and most disturbingly of all, human beings. They appeared as dangerous birds that larger than usual birds. And also something to note about all Tengu is that they all wore clothes. With the Kotengu, because they appeared more like birds, they looked more animalistic. They acted more animalistically. They didn't have the characteristically long noses that the Daitengu had. And, you know, Daitengu had these sort of long extended noses because that was thought to be an aspect of the Tengu beak. Another origin of the Daitengu is that they were a form of evolution or step up from the Kotengu, and they retain the beak through the long nose. So that's the story behind the long nose, at least. Kotengu are a bit more mischievous than Daitengu, because not only are they perfectly capable and willing to eat humans, they're also much more willing to go further in their torture methods towards humans. So they're more likely to drop humans from great heights, torture, and make the lives of monks and nuns very difficult. Kidnap people just for the fun of it, steal from people, and just be general nuisances. However, Kotengu are also considered to be a lot less intelligent than Daitengu, and in fact are a bit more easy to manipulate in the stories. Humans can sort of bypass their general, more, shall we say, devious nature just by tricking them. And they still possess the ability to fly. They're still birds. Also, some of them possess some skill with a blade, which is also quite interesting to note. Yes, that was the little video on Jing Wei. Now, I know I probably talked more about the Tengu than Jing Wei, but seriously, there really isn't too much to go on Jing Wei. Certain sites that I usually go to get my information from had zero information on Jing Wei. so I kind of had to search around for what little I could find, and even that wasn't too much. It's essentially the backstory that Hi-Rez gives us, not too much more than that, so I felt like telling you about Tengu. Also, last week there were a couple of god recommendations that I accidentally forgot to put in the cards, and also I put the cards down a little late. Hope you don't mind that as well. But off the top of my head, the gods that are supposed to be in the cards this week: Freya, Xingqian, Guan Yu, Poseidon, who got just as many votes as Jing Wei, but I decided to do Jing Wei because I'm feeling like doing a bit of a more sort of Chinese mythology focused videos this week. Hopefully you enjoy that. I feel like there's another god that I'm Kronos. Kronos was another god that I'll be putting in the cards. So, sort of jumping all over the place here, but I hope that you did enjoy the video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. But until the next video, have a very good day. I have been Prime, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.